this is Scott from Scott Shot Media. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, and this is what is happening on the mountain. Handful of Caltrans projects to report this morning. The ongoing bridge repairs on State Route 330 will have you delayed as you wait your turn for the traffic signal below the lower passing lane over here. Higher above the middle passing lane, Caltrans crews are making their way down the mountain a couple miles a day, cleaning out drainages, doing some general road maintenance, weed abatement, things like that. The ongoing project lasts roughly between 8 and 4 o'clock, so please slow for the cone zone and similar projects going on today up and over the Onyx Summit on State Route 38. So they'll have you down to one lane with traffic control. Weather is going to look great the rest of this week. No hazardous weather to report, no watches, no warnings, no advisories. Today will be the coolest day of the week, and then with the slight warm up over the next few days. No fires in and around the mountain communities today. No drift smoke to report. However, there were a couple of crimes in the last 24 hours across the mountain. Over in the Arrowhead Villas, over in Lake Arrowhead, there was a residential burglary. On West Shore, in Twin Peaks, there was a report of a fraud on Pine Avenue. Over here in Cedar Glen, there was a motorcycle that was stolen on Lakeview Drive. And then over in Big Bear Lake, there was an arrest made for somebody in possession of a controlled substance. And lastly, over in Big Bear City, there was a report of vandalism. A couple of power outages today. The biggest one over here in the villas. There's about 388 customers without power. Two different projects from Edison where they're upgrading power equipment. Some of the power is expected to be restored by 4 o'clock, but the majority of the customers, 328 that are being affected, there is no ETA on when that power will be restored. So we'll update you as soon as we get additional information. And then hiding down over here between Angeles Oaks and Seven Oaks, there's a small outage as Edison does some equipment repairs affecting only 6 customers, and those repairs are expected to be completed by 1:15 this afternoon. The biggest news of the day is a significant jump in the number of COVID-19 cases being reported on the mountain. A 50% increase overnight from one end of the mountain to the other. And although the health department hasn't specifically said why there was such a big increase on the mountains, we can speculate that for one, there probably was a backlog. If you look, the county reported the second largest single day increase in new cases yesterday. So likely there was a backlog of cases being reported as the labs are working overtime to get all the results in and reported. Likely because there's a few new communities added to the cases here on the mountain. It is likely that some of these actually are probably old and were being previously reported as unknown locations, unknown cities and communities, and they have since been able to track down the primary residents of some of those unknowns. It's important to note that when we are tracking COVID positive cases, that it is the primary address or the billing address that the person who is tested positive puts down on the paperwork. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the person was infected on the mountain. It actually doesn't even necessarily mean that the person is currently on the mountain. Conversely, there is likely people who have been symptomatic or have tested positive at one of our local rural health clinics or hospitals who live elsewhere off the mountain, and we're not being tracked for those cases. And so take it for what it's worth, but here is the breakdown. We'll start on the eastern half of the mountain, where there's 32 cases reported. 2 of those in Forest Falls. That's a new community added to the list. Angeles Oaks has 1 case. That's a new community added to the list. Big Bear City is reporting 11, which is an increase from 1 yesterday, and Big Bear Lake is reporting 18, which is the same as yesterday. On the western half of the mountain, Blue Jay is reporting 6, so that's a new community. And Cedar Glen is reporting 2. That's a new community. Crestline is now reporting 30, which is up 2 from yesterday. Rim Forest is reporting 1, which is the same. Running Springs is reporting 12, which is the same. Twin Peaks is a new community, reporting 4, and Lake Arrowhead is a new community, reporting 3. So that brings the total for the western half of the mountains to 58, and collectively from the east to the west, there are now 90 reported cases on the mountain. Most of those, some of those are older, and if they're older than a few weeks, those patients, those residents are likely now cured or at least no longer symptomatic and contagious. And the good news is the death count hasn't changed at all. We're still reporting 1 in Blue Jay and 2 in Crestline. So hopefully that didn't cause too much confusion. Certainly send me a message if you'd like some updates or clarifications on our COVID-19 cases. Be happy to share what I do know. Again, my name is Scott from Scott Shot Media, and this is what is happening on the mountain.